Am I the a-hole for not letting my husband use my airline credit for a coworker? Update 3 years later. Original post. My husband and I got married 2 years ago during the middle of the COVID lockdown. We were supposed to go to France and Germany for our honeymoon. We saved for the tickets and, to be honest, I paid for most of them. This is a second marriage for both of us, both 43, and our finances have stayed separate for the most part due to my insistence. We have tried to go on our honeymoon 3 times, but lockdowns or illnesses have kept us stateside. My husband is very well traveled, and I haven't been to many places. I have tried to talk to him about using the credit to go somewhere in the States, but he insists we wait. He is stingy with money, and I have paid the majority of every trip we've taken, which has mostly been with my children. He has made me feel really bad about wanting to change the plans, because he says it's giving up on our honeymoon. I haven't been anywhere, and even just going to a coast would be amazing. Today when I got home from work, he said he had a coworker, 25 female, who is stuck in Florida on vacation due to the recent flood. He said her car was totaled and she had no way to get back to work. He offered to fly her back using our credit. I was dumbfounded. I asked if we would be paid back, and he shrugged and said he doesn't feel like she needs to because she's going to an RN school. I'm an RN, and I work hard for every dime I make working in the ICU. He didn't ask me to use the credit. He assumed I would be fine with it. It only came up in conversation about how crazy his day was. Am I the a-hole for saying no to using the credit on a coworker? Am I the a-hole for feeling like he cared more for this woman than me? Now for the comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Your husband is, though. That's airline credits for you and your family, not for some random person your husband happened to work with. Why is this coworker being stranded in Florida any of his business? If he's so worried about the coworker, he can pay for the flight with his money. Because husband wants to play hero, so he might have a chance to get into her knickers. Not the a-hole, but I'd be leery about him not wanting to go anywhere with you and suddenly wanting to give some random 25-year-old chick your honeymoon credit? Right, I'm so mad on OP's behalf. The trust would be gone in an instant. Wow, not the a-hole, but this sounds suspicious as heck. He wants to use your credit, that you mostly paid for, to help a coworker? Look, I'm friends with a lot of my coworkers, and if they totaled their car in another state, I'd tell them to call their insurance, although they're adults and wouldn't need that advice. How did he find out about this? Were people at his work talking about it and he decided to swoop in as the hero? Or did she call him? Either way, highly sus OP. Highly sus. This 100%. Why isn't she calling a family member instead of a coworker, and she's a student too? I would be highly suspicious as to why she thought of him to help her. Right, it is not normal for a 46-year-old married man to propose using airline credits that are from a postponed honeymoon he's supposed to take with his wife for a stranded coworker, who just happens to be female and 25. Red flags. Now for the update 3 years later. Just logged into an old computer and found this account that I no longer use. I had completely forgotten about it and honestly have only a vague recollection of posting it due to circumstances I will get into. The marriage ended right after this. It looks like this is almost 3 years old, and I would be away from this man for 3 years in July 2025. This was one of the last arguments we had. He told me I was very uncaring about this stranger in Florida, and that if I were a nice person, money would be no object to help her. He then strangled me to the ground, and I passed out. By this point in the marriage, I handed him my phone when I got home from work, and he would give it back to me when I left for work. I tried to leave several times. Each time I came back. When I wrote this post, I was downloading the audiobook Why Does He Do That? By Lundy Bancroft, and then deleting it each evening before I handed my phone to him. This book saved my life. It gave me the courage to try to get away and to understand that he wasn't going to change. He had choked me several times and was physically abusive. By this point in our marriage, I had glass in my foot and had lost half my hearing from a busted eardrum in my right ear. About a week after this post, I went to get the mail, something I was not allowed to do, but something told me I needed to. In the mailbox was a $35,000 check from my aunt's inheritance. I stuffed it in my panties, and it stayed there until the next day. I slowly gathered my dog, purse, and documents for an opportunity to leave. He had to leave for 2 hours for work, and I called my daughter and she came to pick me up. I didn't even have shoes on. I was so anxious. That was July 1st, 2022. I'll spare you all the work it took to get to where I am today, but I will say that my life is good. My life is joyous. My life is safe and peaceful. I'm officially divorced. It took 2 years of him kicking and screaming to get there. He has yet to pay me a dime for the house that I bought, and I don't expect to see it, as he is in contempt. Thank you so much for the advice you gave me that day. I am not sure if he was having an affair with that woman or not. Most likely, he was getting to the point where he was. All evidence points to that. I don't care though. I was so far gone that I don't even remember the post. It was like complaining about the smell of smoke when your whole house is on fire. Thank you again for being so gentle with me. To the woman who told me to use the credit and go to the coast, a year ago, I did. I took one of my daughters, and we went to Oregon and Washington. We hiked. We sunbathed on the beach. We rock-hounded. We did all the things. I don't have any ambition to go to Paris or Germany anymore. It was never my dream. Again, thank you so much for all the support you gave me 3 years ago. I suggest you talk to a lawyer and see if you can sue him for the house and force a sale with you getting the money and or garnish his income or seize his car to pay you back for it. A lawyer that will take a % of what you receive, no cash up front to you. Work only through a lawyer, so he never knows where you live. I have been doing this. The wheels of justice are slow. The amount has been awarded to me. Now he is in contempt. We went to mediation and it was agreed he wanted to stay and to pay me what I paid in and the down payment which I paid for. He then never paid. In my state, if one wants to stay, they get to stay, but pay the other person out. Now he is in contempt for never paying me. He is now not paying the mortgage either. I'm on the deed, so nothing can happen without me knowing. We go to court this summer. He will most likely be ordered to sell the house. Also, when I went to get my things awarded to me, he met me and 5 others to help me move and stay safe. He tried to lock me inside the storage unit when he got mad. That was a year ago. Since then, I don't deal with him at all, but have my lawyer deal with it. He tried to lock you in a storage unit in front of the 5 witnesses you brought. The man is unhinged, so proud of you for getting out. My friends, 2 of them were his friends too, and are no longer, jumped on him to stop him from locking the door with me in it. He then got in his truck and sped off swerving to try to hit me. Since he did this in front of people, he was charged with attempted assault and battery with a vehicle. He has abused 3 women in his life. He was 46 when it finally caught up with him. Oh, honey, you are a badass. God bless your dear late auntie for knowing you needed a hand to GTFO ASAP. Take care. When on the vacation, I had a small moment for her. We were not close. I sent her a card for her birthday and Christmas and sent her letters, and she would respond with a letter. I realized now I was almost all she had. She didn't have kids, and her husband died 20 years before she did. She saved my life. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to meet my bio mother's husband and kids and saying no to any kind of relationship or contact with them? I, 17 male, was raised by my dad. My bio mother wasn't ready or whatever and gave me to dad to raise at birth. She lived about an hour from us, so I saw her around, but she never talked to me. When I was little, I would try to wave or speak to her and she didn't want to know. Eventually, I stopped seeing her as anything to me. Her parents were a different thing, and they had to be kept from me because they tried taking me from my dad and tried to make bio raise me, even though she didn't want me. Dad did everything he could to shield me from that stuff, but I ended up speaking to different court people when I was 6 because of the fight my bio grandparents put up. Through all that, my dad was amazing. I guess sometime in the last 3 or 4 years, my bio mother has gotten married and she had kids with her husband. She reached out to dad a few months ago and told him she wanted to see me. Dad talked to me, and I didn't want to see her, so he told her no. But she got a lawyer involved, and Dad's lawyer and her lawyer were communicating, and she made the threat through her lawyer that she would sue for custody or visitation if Dad didn't comply with making me talk to her. I told Dad to agree. I didn't want to go to court. I didn't want a therapist getting involved. I have zero interest in a relationship with her, and I knew that would potentially be pushed for until I'm 18, so I agreed to meet with her, and it was awful. She told me about her husband and kids, and how she felt it would be good for me to meet them and have a relationship with them. I turned her down and said it would never happen. That was the end of us talking. But she's pressed Dad on it through the lawyers, and she's prepared to go to court and pay a crap ton of money for this to happen. I don't care if her kids are related to me through blood. I will die saying I am an only child, and they will never be siblings in my eyes. So I reached out and said, if she pushed that, she would have to explain to her kids why their brother is so disinterested in them, and why he's never happy to see them, and makes no effort to be in their lives. I told her I'll be 18 sooner than she realizes, and she can't make me hang around. And I told her I don't care if her kids get hurt. I told her she'll be left to pick up the pieces with her husband. Her husband raged at Dad after everything happened. My bio mother backed down after I made the threat to not care about her kids' feelings. Her husband thinks badly of me for saying it. He's being an ass to Dad over it, and Dad blocked his number, but he has access to my bio's number. Dad doesn't block her because he likes being prepared for her dragging the lawyers into it. The whole thing's a mess. And I don't feel guilty about it because of this random guy or these random kids. I don't care about the kids being blood. I don't even care if she turns into a crappy mother to them someday and they want to bond with me over it. We're not family, but I know Dad's dealing with the reaction to it, and I do feel bad about that. He doesn't say it bothers him, but he's finding it harder to keep what's going on from me. So I wanted to ask, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your dad is amazing, though. I think you're doing the right thing. Just let your dad know how much you appreciate him standing up for you all these years. Your mother and her husband can kick rocks. I let him know I love and appreciate him whenever I can. I celebrate him for Mother's Day and Father's Day every year. You are a good one, kid, and you told your mom exactly what I would have. If they push, go once and make sure you are a wrecking ball in that house. Spill everything, so they will never want you back. Not the a-hole. Tell her let's go to court. We will ask for 17 years of back child support. See how fast she loses your number. She obviously has money. And no sane judge would force a 17-year-old into anything with a mother that hasn't cared until now, and her unstable family. As someone in a similar position, you are certainly not the a-hole. This is your choice free of judgment or comment. At least you were upfront about your intentions. Thank you. I wanted to leave no room for doubt. Not the a-hole. I thought at your age you could decide who you live with, and decide if you even want to see your mother or not. I say let her pay her lawyers and spend all that money. No need for your dad to worry about it, unless he wants to ask for back child support. He might not even need a lawyer for that claim to be heard, though. They can force me to go to therapy with her. It's happened in a bunch of custody cases where we live and close to it. That's what I don't want to have happen. Last story. Am I the a-hole for how I joked about 2 women I matched with recently, only wanting me after they had kids? For context, I'm a 35-year-old guy. In the last few weeks, I matched with 2 different women from my past. One I asked out when I was in college, and she rejected me. Another I asked out a few years later. She also rejected me. I didn't recognize the first one at first, as she looks dramatically different over a decade later, but we got to talking and she seemed interested in meeting up. After a few days, she mentioned that she had a daughter and asked if that would be a problem. I don't want kids or to be a stepfather, so I told her it was a deal breaker. She was understanding, and we stopped talking. Then a few days later, I matched with the second woman. I recognized her and thought it might be a chance to make up for a past rejection. A few messages in, she mentioned she had a son and was recently divorced. She was less understanding and was really unkind in telling me what she thought of me for not wanting to date a woman with a child. She told me she's glad she turned me down years ago because I was a loser. Ouch. The reason I think I might be an a-hole is that when I was hanging out with my family last night, I was mentioning these two women, and I made a comment along the lines of, why the heck are these women waiting until they have a kid to be interested in dating me? Am I only attractive when I'm a potential stepdaddy? My sister got upset, and I sort of see why. She has a kid from a previous relationship, and her fiancé has been a fantastic father figure for my nephew. Her son's father is a deadbeat and is rarely in his life, so her fiancé is more of a father to him than his biological one. She says I'm being a dickhead for accusing these women of trying to use me as a stepfather for their kids, but I don't think that's what's happening. I was just making a joke out of frustration at trying to date as a 35-year-old man who doesn't want kids, or to date someone who has them. Am I the a-hole here? Now that you've added it to your dating profile, you are not the a-hole. And if you truly don't want kids, then you are doing the right thing by not dating single moms from the get-go. Way too many kids are traumatized by their parents' significant others, dating people who treat them poorly or who ignore them entirely. Or equally as bad, mom is a crap show and you fall in love with the kids, and you're a better parent to them than either of their actual parents. And then when the inevitable breakup happens, having to break up with the kids is just awful for both you and them. My last girl's kid was begging me not to go. Man, that was just heart-wrenching. If your ex's kid was begging you not to leave, it speaks volumes. They obviously wanted you around and looked up to you. It is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. You're not the a-hole. I have a kid, and even I can see the humor in what you're saying. Because the two things these women have in common is that you asked them out and got rejected, and they now have kids and are interested in you. I almost see it as you kind of making fun of yourself rather than the women. My partner and I have a similar sense of humor and poke fun at ourselves. Your sister was overreacting in my opinion, but her reaction would be valid if you were making a comment about her personally and in a negative way. Maybe read the room and see who is in the audience with certain jokes. Her fiancé is a wonderful man, and my sister in no way is just using him as replacement for her POS ex. He just happens to be great with my nephew and treats him as his own. I've made it clear that not only were these women most likely not trying to use me, I also made it clear I know she isn't using her fiancé. The joke was made out of frustration, and I tried to use humor in a way that clearly backfired on me.